Hi.
Hi.
Back.
Like I messed up the other night's recording. Hello. Let me get the view here to the gallery view. There, very good. Okay, good evening, everybody. It's the full super pink moon in Scorpio. And you have as your host an expert on Scorpio. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Mary. Being that I have the sun and rising in Scorpio, and interestingly, I have a Taurus moon. So we're in the Taurus sun with a Scorpio moon. So we are going to do a little journeying tonight after we get our calling in done. But I've set everything up so that we're going to be in Peru. And I'm going to show you, first of all, the altar tonight, which you'll see a condor on, because that's one of the big birds. And where's my condor feather? My contraband condor feather.
You smuggled it.
Well, it's not smuggling because it was given to me, but you have to hide it when you go through because they don't like people to take the condor feathers. But the Quechua shaman gave it to me, so I figured it was okay. I'm gonna get my head out of the way so you can see this. All you're seeing is my big head. But I have a picture somewhere. Is it still up, of a condor? But this is one of their feathers, and they're, you know, when if you've been to Peru or haven't, when the shaman does the ceremony and smudges you, they have a wing that's probably double or more the size. Okay, so when they sweep it, you know, you could just hear it. It's really, it just moves you because there's so much, you know, air behind it. But so I'm going to take that down so you can see me. But can you see the picture, or did it not?
Very cool.
Okay, all right, I'll go back to a regular view. This is where, you know, when you don't know how to do this all the time, or you need an assistant to move it. Okay, so I'm glad you're all here. I'm really excited that we're doing this tonight. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what's happening. Y'all are familiar with identical twins who look a great deal alike and act a great deal alike and are almost in a symbiotic relationship. Well, we could say that the full moon in Scorpio and the sun in Taurus are more like fraternal twins. They don't look alike, they don't act alike. Half the time they're kind of opposed to one another. And I kind of know about that also because my oldest son's twins are fraternal, and there's not a bit of them that looks like the other one. So what you're dealing with the Scorpio moon and the Taurus sun is oppositional energies. And so this is a time when there's a lot of energy, things that are energizing us. And at the same time, we may be pulled in different directions a little bit. And so my plan for my life was that I would figure out how to give them both some space. So Scorpio would go out and conquer the world, and Taurus got to have bonbons and watch TV. You know, and so, but I had to weigh them to see, you know, who needed the most attention. So if you're feeling a little bit pulled in different directions, just kind of flow with it if you can, because that's better than opposing it. And also, I think that the Scorpio moon is with Uranus, which can be kind of a taskmaster or get us on track. And one of the things this is calling us to is change. You know, to really begin to look at our lives and see what needs change, and then gather that energy and make that change. So we have water and earth, and both fixed sites. That's another thing. Taurus is fixed earth, Scorpio fixed water. So you also have a certain kind of hunkering down within, just really getting into things and not wanting to make a move, right? And so if you really challenge either of them, they're going to kind of come at you because that's their energy. Another aspect of the Taurus and Scorpio is that Taurus is the most sensuous of the zodiac signs, and Scorpio is the most sexual. Now that could make for grand passion, you know, or it could, again, leave someone kind of feeling left out. So those are some things to consider. So what I wanted to say here also, I wrote a piece a long time ago on the 3 seasons. And what that was about is our whole sexual beings, that we have 3 phases. we have the procreation phase, which we may or not choose to do, but we're in the procreation. Then we're in the recreation. And finally, we're in transformation. And that's really what some of these strong energies are calling us for, is to really transform our beliefs, our way of acting in the world, and stepping out of all of the delusion and the illusion so that we can finally come to great peace. And so that's some of the energy that we're getting on tonight. Now, let me see what else. There's high emotions because of Scorpio. You know, this moon is intended to kind of shake things up. When they talk about a super moon, that just means that the moon is closer to the earth. It looks bigger, but it isn't. It's just closer to our planet. And so that's what's super about it. And the pink was, this is the time when a lot of blossoms in the northern hemisphere. And so you're seeing a lot of pink in colors, and pink is sort of the romantic side of love and kind of warming energy. So there's some really powerful things going on tonight. And what you might do is look at your own chart and see where Scorpio appears and where Taurus appears, and maybe get some information about that. When I teach that class on the moons, we go into all of that. We look at your entire chart and we go through each aspect of it to see what, you know, how it plays out for you. Yes, Paula.
I have a big question. It's a big question for me. So when you say you look at the chart, do you look at the chart when you're born, or do you look at where it is now?
Well, there are progress charts, but when I do the class, we look at your birth chart because we look at many aspects. The balance of yin and yang, okay? How the four elements play, and are they equal? Are they out of balance? You know, what are you missing? Like, I can only speak to my chart because I don't have your chart in front of me, but I had no air, just about, all fire, you know, and water and earth. So my life task was to begin to not attach to things so much, right? Have that air energy. So we look at that, and then we go through each of the planets and see where they are in your chart. You know, like, where does your Mercury appear? Is it a placement where communication is easy and you're able to speak, you know, and tell your truth and that sort of thing? Or is it juxtaposed to something that is more challenging? And then we look at whether they're in opposition, are they squared, or, you know, those aspects of it. So, and then what houses? Because everything, it's like if you go to a party and someone says, "What's my sign? What's your sign?" You know, that doesn't mean anything. That's just your sun, you know, sign. And that's not really telling you a whole lot. You know, like one of the things with the Taurus moon for me is people don't always recognize right away that I'm a Scorpio, because I love beauty around me and all these things. And I'm always the negotiator in our family and the one who settles all the, you know, the issues of diplomat. That's not traditional Scorpio energy. So you can have those things that are so variable, but what you do is you learn to work with them, and then you look at a progress chart, see where you're at. So, and then we also look at it so that we can see how each of the moons or the sun seasons affect you based on what's in your chart. It helps people learn to live a little bit more in sync with what's going on rather than opposing it, okay? But Scorpio is always very challenging for people, and because I'm a double Scorpio, and then my Chinese moon sign is snake, people are like this, watch out, you know, she's dangerous, which, you know, I'm not, but that's so in the class, we really spend a lot of time just examining who we are, where we are at now, and what more work we have to do. Does that answer your question, Paula?
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else have questions? Okay. Stop me if there's something that I've said that you don't understand, okay? Because I'm here for you. Okay, no questions? Well, I want to show you a picture. I'm going to show you the picture, but I'll also bring up the screen, and I want you to look at this. This is the Amaru Maru Gateway. It's near Lake Titicaca, which is near the border of Bolivia. And you notice the cutout part? In the meditation tonight, you're going to go one at a time into that little cutout part. Okay, that's what we did in Peru because it's a portal and people are wanting to have an experience with ancient wisdom in there. And so you actually touch the sides and you can get a download. It's very powerful. So I want you to imagine that we're outside and we've formed a circle and maybe we're on the lake and then we're going to go to the Amaru Maru gateway. But we're going to start with calling in. So just imagine that you are someplace near that gateway and that you're available for some transformation, okay? And you're going to look to the east, and I can't tell you right now where Peru's east is. Well, it would be their coastline, but just think of what's east for you, okay? Wherever you're located, where's your east? We're going to call out to spirits of the east. We're calling out to Condor tonight and the visionary guides who hold possibilities for all people to come and join us tonight. So this is also a big night for connecting with ancestors and perhaps people that have crossed the Rainbow Bridge. As the direction of the seer, gift us knowledge tonight that we may bring back to our circles to facilitate the great changes that are taking place now. I actually wrote this meditation several years ago, but it's still so relevant, you know, today that I'm using it tonight. Help us see beyond our limited scope of the material world those changes that are necessary in our organizations and structures to create the dimensional shift that is upon us now individually and collectively. Let us have the courage to speak our truths and to foster real freedom among all the people on the planet. Help us recognize that the world, our Earth, as we know it, is splitting into parallel entities, and that we're being presented with a choice. Let us focus our magical attention on the good Earth, El Mundo Bueno, and give the attention and energy to, and give no attention to the energy of El Mundo Mal. And I was just talking with a couple people about that. Mary, maybe it was you in part, but that as of the 11/11, which was a major shift that we went through, we're also looking at splitting the worlds. Like if you believe in parallel universes, at some time there will be two Earths. And that's my book title, is El Mundo Bueno. And it's about how do we have that good Earth that fosters humanity as being humanitarian and fosters the health of the planet? Or do we still kind of fence it, thinking that we can be a little bit bad, a little bit mean, you know, but yet at the point that it splits, there's a definitive choice. And I think that when we see all of the things that have unfolded in the last few years in terms of, you know, guns and politics and different aspects of the icebergs melting, we're seeing the world being kind of pulled apart. So we're asking in the spirits of the East to help us that. So free us to share our vision as we participate in the great giveaway. Allow us to rise with Condor to meet Eagle for the greater vision and experience of our illumined selves. The shaman of South America believe that this is the time when the eagle of our part of the Americas come together and meet, and that also portends the time in which we will have greater peace. And it's actually been going on for a long time, but you know that when you make a major change, sometimes there's that point at which you're very uncomfortable, because as negative as the old was, we actually become addicted to it. And it's kind of like losing a limb. And so we have to trust that, you know, that it's going to come through and that we're going to be all right. So now we're going to face the west, wherever you are. And we'll focus on spirits of the west, Jaguar. Help us build the rainbow bridge between the worlds, that we may leap consciously from the world of matter to the world of spirit. Help us to step beyond the small deaths and numbing experiences of daily routine to fully embrace life, and so doing not be claimed by death. Jaguar, teach us to leap gracefully from one life within a life to another, lifting each veil as we fly. Let us embrace the 9 lives of the Inca belief system as each a separate but important learning towards our completions. As we recognize and embrace the experience of each of these important passages, may we surrender our fear and violence and live in peace. Let us acknowledge what has been completed in our lives in the past animation cycle, and we ask for the dream initiators to help us examine and release those beliefs and illusions that no longer serve us in order to create space for the new inner truths that await us. Gift us with the quality of receptiveness that we are available to receive all of our earth walk experiences in dignity and in humility. Let us be willing to build from the ashes of the old life, the arisen temple within and without. And in a lot of the predictions of what's coming in the time and some of the religious writings, they speak about a time of, resurrection and change and redemption. And we're really in that, no matter what your belief system is, we've moved into that. And like I said, sometimes it's comfortable, sometimes it's not. We're going to turn now to the north. Spirits of the North, hummingbird, place of mystery. Teach us to step outside of ordinary time and become a luminous being. Let us embrace the new dimension wherein we are no longer subject to karma. Allow the momentum of the past to assist us in attaining freedom and liberation. Invite us to listen to the voices of the ancient ones as we step outside of time, releasing events of the past and summoning the destiny we desire. Let gentleness and sweetness be the key words we use to summon our destiny. Awaken our luminous bodies that we may walk upon Pachamama as luminous beings. And as we acknowledge the fullness of the moon, may we remember the circles and cycles of fullness and cleansing, clearing. Gift us the wisdom to appreciate the sacred presence of our ancestors who guide and support our earth walk. Teach us to lead our lives with integrity for the 7 generations who will follow. Let us see the big picture of our lives more clearly, that we may become more internally balanced through these chaotic times. And again, in the time that we're in right now, it's the best time to hear what the ancestors have to say. And as we go into the meditation, I call you one by one to go into the doorway. That's what you're seeking, is to get that wisdom download. Okay? Then we're going to go to the south. And I'm using my Peruvian male and female bells. Here's the south serpent. Help us to shed our past as you do, that we may be transformed through magic. Let us do this in one fell swoop as an act of love and an act of power. Whichever passage we are in now in the life cycles, let this be accomplished by working with fire. As we are able, let us feed a virtual or real fire the twigs of our past, representing the lessons of this lifetime, and pay homage. Let no acts of love and forgiveness go unsaid. Let us take actions to express ourselves and no longer hold within those words from others. Spiritual warriors are empowered by loving and forgiving, and so let it be with us. As all of these releases transpire, help us become detached and come into balance. Guide our footsteps as we gently walk our pathway, gaining strength and momentum along the way. Let us let go of fear and uncertainty. Grant us the faith and trust to acknowledge who we truly are, and gift us with the grace to celebrate our own pathway and those of others we may not understand. And it's also inviting us to take that good red road. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that term, but in New Mexico, a long time ago, I-40 and I-25 had red pavement. and it was part of the Good Red Road. There's still little segments of it on 40, but it was an invitation to really tune into the ancestors and to walk gently, not clomping around, but to be cognizant of every step we take, because we're walking on the graves of people that have come before us, even if it's not a graveyard. So, and then we're going to focus our attention above, and we're going to call on Tachacha, Father Sky above, provider of the sun, moon, and stars that remind us of our origins. Shine your light on our gathering tonight, that we may become illumined. Exemplar of the divine masculine, gift us the harvest of our experiences and greater illumination. Under the influence of this full Taurus moon, honor our tribute to you. Show us the light of our true selves and bless us with upliftment. And then we're going to focus wherever our feet are as if we were touching the earth. Pachamama, Mother Earth, below, provider of all that sustains and nourishes our earth walk. We ask that you give us a strong foundation and that you forgive us our unconscious acts of harm upon you. Exemplar of the divine feminine, teach us to honor, to acknowledge, and to connect with the animals, the plants, the minerals, the Devic and angelic kingdoms, elemental beings, and humans of all persuasions. Guide us on our earth walk, that we may walk in beauty and become earth stewards. Bless us with seasons to grow by and an understanding of your needs. And sometimes we get bogged down with the concept of being earth stewards, and we think we have to do grand things. And what I would say is small steps, baby steps, in changing how you live on the earth and changing how you engage the earth. And if you're energetic and able, join the political scene and have your voice heard, or do whatever you can, make videos about saving the earth. But if all you do is put your cans in the recycling bin, or start canning so you don't have to have any metal cans, aluminum cans, but you have glass that you can wash, do that. And in any event, try not to feel guilty. We didn't create all of this mess. We have contributed unconsciously, but now we're aware, and we can decide, Pachamama, we're here. You're our mother, our great mother, and we want you to know we care. So I don't want us to get into the whole guilt trip thing.
And whatever we do, may it be done with love.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. There's so much judgment, hatred, anger, etc. in the world that everything, if we review it with love, we can begin to do a lot of forgiveness of self and others, especially our relationships, because our relationships, it's easy to blame the other person. And maybe they did have aberrant behavior, but at some point, maybe they'll grow. And they were doing the best they could at the time, even though it wasn't our best or what we wanted. But we have to see them as spirits, not just human beings. And that, Glenda, is through love, definitely. I've had some recent experiences of reviewing some relationships and seeing through those eyes of love, and almost wishing that people were still here, that I could tell them, that I had recognized that. But even if they're not here, you can go into your dream state and do that. So then I want you to place your hand on your heart, if you will. We call in our inner selves to move us in the direction of peace. As we place our hands on our hearts, let us feel the warmth and support that is always given us. Let us recognize the goodness and the wholeness within us that is our given right, and claim it. Grant us an ever-increasing ability to unconditionally love, accept, understand, forgive with ourselves and others. Gift us patience with self and others. Let us renew the quest for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We ask that our journey toward more peace within spill out and overtake our beings, that we will recognize that we are spiritual beings having a material human experience of the highest order. And so just take a deep breath into that heart space. You can put both hands there if you choose. And as you're breathing, begin to feel warmth gathering in your hands. And perhaps you'll see a golden pink light as you close your eyes. And begin to expand that golden pink light until it covers your entire physical being. And then continuing breathing into the heart, imagine that about a foot away from your physical being is your emotional body. And breathe that golden pink light into your emotional body so that it can take away pain and sorrow. It can help ease you through any untoward experiences or health challenges. And then as you continue to breathe and you feel more heat, ask your guides to clear your mind of all the detritus that's been placed there by all kinds of people in our lives. And gently release them and release thoughts. I like to say that you can give them a golden parachute and send them someplace that they'll be happy to be quiet, and tell them you'll call them if necessary for consulting, but that their work is done. And then breathing again, let this golden light begin to broaden and expand and circle the entire room you're in. And then knowing that it's from your higher heart and divine spirit, let it just completely encompass the dwelling you're in, moving out through the city that you're in, moving to the boundaries of the state you're in, beyond this continent, across the oceans, encompassing every living being in the four kingdoms and all aspects of the earth, and then let that go beyond, back to the source from which it came. So if we are to focus on a pink full moon, I would say that is a moon of love. Let that reach out into the world and surround it so those who need comforting can feel that. Nations that are fighting with other nations can stop, and that we can all participate in a wonderful adventure of healing the earth and healing ourselves, and gently but carefully and swiftly moving into the fifth dimension. And so we're going to thank the spirits of the east, the west, the north, the south, and all our relations, the Taquiasan. And so it is. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the Amaru Gateway. And I think when I do the meditation, I'm going to put the picture up. So that's what you'll see, and I'll move my body aside a little bit, and I'll play some music from the city that's below, I can't think of it right now. What's the famous Aztec ruin in Peru? We'll get there. Anyway, this particular gentleman invites people into his metaphysical store, and then he plays some of this music. It's quite a long thing. I won't play the whole thing, but I'll set it up in a minute. So as I said before, Lake Titicaca in Peru is near the Bolivian border. And there's this portal, this gateway called the Amaru Maru Gateway. Legend has it that the Amaru Maru became the solar priest king of the Incas. He became known as Manco Capac, meaning spiritually abundant or keeper of the serpent wisdom, who would bear a son through marriage to Chicometquatle, known as Sanat Kumara, who would begin with what would become in legends the Great Solar Brotherhood. Some of you have heard of the White Brotherhood or other brotherhoods. This was the Great Brotherhood. An interesting aside is that in the downline of these serpent priest kings and their royal lineages, was denoted subtly that the kings and their royal that the serpent wisdom, by including the K sound in their name, that was the Kumar, Kumara, Christ, Krishna, etc. They became masters on the earth plane. So following the coronation in Peru of Manco Capac, took one of the power objects stored within the Temple of the Seven Rays the great solar disk and hung it within the main temple of the Incas, the Inti Huasi, which is built in Cusco, Peru. And one of the interesting things when I was in Peru was that our guide, the shaman that was our guide, said if I ever put a group of people together that aren't going to be typical Americans and just do their disgusting American thing, that he will take us to this island where the Seven Temple is. So one of these days when I get weller, we'll
Wow, that would be really cool.
it was really a compliment that he liked my work, you know. So the solar disk had previously been hung with an important temple, the Solar Brotherhood, on Lemuria. So at one point, if you know about Atlantis and Lemuria, they had some of these sacred objects. And when I went to Japan in 1998 and attended the Birth of Earth ceremony, one of the things they talked about is that when Lemuria and Atlantis sank, that a lot of the people scattered because they knew that an event was happening. And so they do this ceremony in Japan every year to bring back people from the shamanic lineage that scattered and bring them into one place to recognize that. It's quite powerful. All right, so where am I? By hanging the symbol in the Intihuasi, Manco officially established the Solar Brotherhood of Peru. Later, when the Spanish invaded Peru, the solar disk was returned to the monastery of the Seven Rays for its safekeeping. So it would be incredible to go to this island where this is. It's said that it's still in place today, and that in 1987, a ceremony took place at the ancient temple where the earthly throne of the Kumaras, a young Indian woman, was placed. And it's said that that was a symbol of shifting back into balance of Alpha and Omega of the consciousness of the planet. The serpent energies of Pachamama, and her daughters of Isis would once again regain their place of authority in the matrix of social awareness, that the consciousness of humanity would once again open to the awareness of Mother of us all and the Mother within us all. And Hu is when they did the 1111 ceremony, there's one of the chants was Hu, which is like God. So you would use the word Hu a great deal to call on that God spirit. Let's see. The ancient city of Cusco is accredited to have been built by the Amaru Maru. It was the capital of the ancient Inca Empire and remains so today. So Amaru Maru is credited with establishing many sacred sites that have been rediscovered today through the Inca Empire. Manco Capac and the Capac Kuna, members of the Solar Brotherhood from Lemuria, built megalithic temples in Peru, which can be experienced today at Tiahuanaco, such as Sachamama, Ollantaytambo, and Machu Picchu. That's what I was trying to think of, Machu Picchu. When I was in Ollantaytambo, it's also very energetic and very interesting. I could have stayed there a long time. In fact, I felt like if I didn't have children to come back to, I would have stayed in Peru. It's so compelling and beautiful that, you know, my heart just really connected with it. So let's see, the sites according to the ancient Inca records that have survived became contact points for visiting Venusians and members of the galactic brotherhoods who interacted with their heirs apparent here on Earth, as one can evidence in the great landing strips of the Nazca Line's ancient geoglyphs in the Narca Desert in Peru. So tonight, you and I are going to visit to the Amaru Maru Gateway, and I'm going to put the picture up so you can see it. And notice the little hollowed part of it in the bottom, because that's where you're going to go stand when I call on you. Okay, I'm going to put this on speaker view only so you can see the big picture. What happened? Here we go.
It's still there. Yeah.
It's okay. Will you all for this time shut your video off and your audio so that you can still see this? Just let me know if for some reason you can't hear me.
So what are we trying to do? I'm sorry.
Your video. I can't because I have everybody up. I can't get,
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to get my Amaru Maru gateway up, but I keep getting yours, Connie. So there we go. Okay. I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to put a little Peruvian music on. I want you to look at the center part in the picture. This is the gateway, right? In that hollowed out place. And once we get into this, I will start calling you one at a time to go there. So that's why I wanted the picture up. So let's begin with several deep breaths, one for the body, one for the emotions, and one for the mind and spirit. And now I invite you to place one hand on your hara. The hara is also the dantian, so it's below the belly button, above the mons pubis, and one hand on your heart. And take a really deep breath, holding it and slowly releasing it, and relaxing as you release. And now place both hands over your heart, breathing into the heart. And as you imagine any emotional tugs or pulls being released on the out breath. So breathe, hold, and release. Next, we're going to breathe through for the mind, placing your hearts on your crown chakra. And as you breathe through your nose, imagine that the breath is filling your cranium with cleaning air. And as you release the breath through your mouth, see unnecessary, distracting thoughts floating away. And finally, let's do a breath for spirit, placing one hand over the third eye and the other over the throat. Our intention with this breath is to breathe energy into our ability of seeing and hearing, clairvoyance and clairaudience. Breathe very slowly through your mouth, filling the cavity with air. Release gently through your nose. Hold and release. And now imagine that we're going to take a magical journey to Peru. Some of you may have been there and can easily conjure it. Others just use your imagination. We're on a very special flight out of the place we're in now. There are no other passengers but us. And we know we're in good hands, as the captain has blessed our plane and us as we boarded. Easily, effortlessly, and very quickly, we fly through space and time and the captain announces that we're nearing the Andes Mountains. We look out the window, and below us are the majestic Andes. And in a few moments, we see a very large lake. And we're told that it is Lake Titicaca as the captain prepares to land. We descend from the plane and are greeted by a Quechua guide. He's dressed in unusual clothing for our time and space, and he speaks an ancient language. Somehow, through the magic, through the portal, we understand his language, but we've not heard it before. He suggests that we change in the nearby shelter to clothing and shoes for hiking. Now we follow his instructions, and in a few minutes we're ready. We cross hills and valleys until we come to a pathway that is ascending. He tells us to watch our footing, especially when we cross what's called the tail of the Puma, a narrow stretch of the mountain. Don't look down, he tells us. Simply balance yourself and cross safely to me. And each of us now does that. Continuing our small climb, we now reach the Amaru Maru Gateway. It looks exactly as I've shown you in the picture. And our ancient guide helps us form a circle nearby and performs a ceremony using the Palo Alto smudging, the sacred smudging, and also the huge condor feather. So as he moves by each of us, we feel the power of that great, huge wing. He asks for special guidance for each of us as we stand in the gateway and cautions us to be very meditative and reverent when each person is in the gateway. We line up now, one by one, and as I call your name, you will step into the gateway. You'll each find the perfect placement for your arms. Do not stress about perfect position. Balance and anchor yourself by placing your feet somewhat apart, just so that your stance is solid. So first I'm going to call Connie and invite Connie into the Amaru Maru Gateway. And as each person is in the gateway, just be meditative and intend for them to have a good experience. And now Connie goes back to her place in the circle and sits meditating, and I call Paula into the Amaru Maru Gateway. And now Paula returns to the circle, sitting and meditating, and I call Nancy. Nancy leaves the Amaru Maru Portal and sits and meditates while Michael Ann steps into the portal. Now Michael Ann returns to the circle, sits meditating while Glenda walks into the portal. Now Glenda leaves the portal, sits meditating while Sig enters the portal. And now Sig leaves the portal and Mary enters the portal. Now Mary leaves the portal, sits meditating while Sharon enters the portal. Now Sharon leaves the portal and you're all sitting in circle quietly, just absorbing the experience and any wisdom that you acquired. Connect with your guide. And notice that your circle is fuller as the guides have joined the circle. And you look up and you notice it's become dark, and that Orion is directly overhead, as is the full moon. And the guides invite you to stand up, holding hands, and each of your inner guides move into the middle of the circle and surround the Quechua shaman. And then they turn around and they walk to each of you, and they place a beautiful heart-shaped crystal on a ribbon over your head. And they invite you to live in love. And each of the hearts have been blessed and are very powerful. And if you don't have a heart shape, something in your waking life, I suggest you find one. And then the guides leave, except your Quechua guide, and you begin to follow the ground path in the dark, each having a small light to find your way. But you don't talk, you're quietly contemplating the experience so that you can bring it back into your waking life. And every time you see the 1111 on a digital readout, you will think of this experience, this portal, this opening. And quietly as we get down from the mountain, we see that our jet is on the landing strip. Each of us thanks our ancient guide, noticing not whether they're tall or have plumed gear or elaborate clothing, but seeing their heart shining and a crown of beautiful golden pink light all around their head. You climb the steps into the plane. The captain welcomes you back as you board, and faster than the speed of light, you're transported back to this place and this time and to our Zoom circle. Allow yourself a few moments to become aware and awake. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and join us. And you can put your video back on. And you can unmute. It looks like everybody's mute, and I don't know if I did that or what we did. And I'm back. And I hope that you had a pleasant experience. That's part of what we actually did in Peru when I was there, and we got the heart stones to carry. And I think even if you just carry one in your pocket with your pants or skirt or dress, it kind of reminds you, be in the heart, stay in the heart, find that loving place within that you can share with others. And that's about it. I would like to share something that was on the internet. I think I posted it, but it's a Scorpio full moon affirmation. And so I'm going to have us all say it together. I honor the desires that live within my soul. I honor the desires that live within my soul. I focus on my dreams and goals. I focus on my dreams and goals. I trust in the unfolding. I trust in the unfolding. I open to soul deep love. Soul deep love. My destiny is manifesting in each breath. My destiny is manifesting in each breath. I'm supported fully by the universe. I am supported fully by the universe.
That was beautiful, Amari.
Oh, good. You know, when I've done it, when we can be in person, it's really beautiful because I have everyone lay down and I walk around with some of the instruments, you know, with the meditation, and it's quite amazing really to, you know, to see. There we are. Okay. So I hope that you enjoyed that and can look at that moon and think about all the invitation to embody within us our destiny and to move that energy into the fifth dimension, no matter what it looks like out here, that we just allow ourselves to be in that energy because it's very powerful. This is a really long recording, and we all lay down in the store that he had, and it just knocks you out. So, yeah. So, anyone have any questions or?
Wow, thank you so much. That was
Oh,
just
you're welcome.
Thank
That's
you, Mari. Your rituals are beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored. I'm honored to see all of you and have you be part of this. And I just thank you. Okay, so this one I did record.
good.
So I'll put it up in a day or so when we get through to it. But thank each of you. Have a lovely evening. Know that you are loved and appreciated, and each of you contributes something incredible for our journey. So
I'm going outside to look at the moon.
good. Okay. All right. So I love you all, and I thank you so much for coming.
Good night, Amari. I love you too.
Thank you. Okay. Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.